Before we begin the episode, I would like to thank our sponsor, Field Queens, an Irish-owned GAA and leisurewear brand created by two inter-county players, Una White and Orla Duff. The girls have put aside their inter-county rivalries to create Ireland's first ever GAA glove specifically designed and tailored fit to the female hand. Field Queens are empowering future generations and offer a 15% team discount on gloves and are proud to be stocked in 10 stores nationwide. Having only started this venture in 2021, they have steadily grown their product line to include their original Empower gloves, bobble hats, snoods and water bottles. They've also just announced their brand new blackout glove, which are now available to buy on their website fieldqueens.ie. You can find out more information on their social media at Field Queens, which will be linked in the description box below. Welcome back to the Sideline Live podcast. You can follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at the Sideline Live. We'd love to hear from you. On episode 81, I'm delighted to be joined by Kerry senior ladies footballer and Irish underage basketball international Siofra O'Shea. In this episode we discuss her career, balancing two sports at a high level, the crossover between basketball and football. Hi Siofra, thanks a million for joining me on the podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode.
No problem, thanks for having me.
Before we get into everything, I'd like to give the guests 30 seconds to kind of introduce themselves and let everyone know who they are.
Yeah, so my name is Siofra O'Shea. I'm from Carradaniel in County Kerry. I play with the Kerry senior football team, and I was on Irish basketball teams all the way up through underage, and I'm currently studying PE and Maths in UL.
Very good. So growing up, why sport, why football and basketball? Who was the big influence?
I think just from a young age, I always had a football or basketball in my hand since I was 3 or 4, like around the garden with my dad and my older brother. I always had an interest in sport from a very young age, no matter what sport it was, even kicking around a rugby ball outside, just anything to be active.
And why basketball and Gaelic football? Why did those two sports stand out for you?
Well, I suppose down in Kerry, football is a big thing, and I would have started with playing with the boys in Sneem Derrynan here. So I always played football from a young age, and then in terms of basketball, I was actually going over to Kenmare for music lessons, and it was in the school there in Kenmare Public School in Vrishkena, and it was actually one of the music lessons. I was just there, and there was loads of kids going in to play basketball. And I was just stood at the door looking in the hall, and I saw all these kids running around. And from then on, my mom let me join basketball, and I played with Kenmare for 6 years until I moved to Carsveen Basketball Club when I went to school in Carsveen in secondary school.
Okay. What music did you do? What instrument did you play?
I was playing the piano at the time, but I gave that up shortly after to stick with the sport.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And how did you find growing up for you? Who were your role models? Who stood out for you at a young age?
Well, I suppose in football, we were lucky enough to have Deirdre Carden in our school. She would have played with the Kerry senior ladies, and she did PE with us every week. And we were just so lucky to have someone that had such an interest in sport. And she was just a great role model for all the girls and boys in the school. So it was just great for her at start, and then when I went to Southern Gaels, I eventually ended up playing with her at senior level. So just someone like that was very special to have in the community and that everyone could look up to.
What was it like playing with the boys and the boys teams? Were they all shout and say, "I'm not marking the girl"?
So there was actually there was 4 girls in my class. We had a small class. There was only 5 of us in the class. So
wow.
There was 4 girls. So we would have all played football, and there was actually a good few girls on our Sneem Derrynan football team. There was like 11 aside, so nearly half the team was made up of girls, and you could see the lads coming over and being like, I don't really want to mark them, but after a few hits, they slowly started hitting back, and they realised that it wasn't just a walkover.
Yeah, you were throwing shoulders from a young age, were you, Siofra?
I know.
How did you find balancing multiple sports at a young age? I suppose in that secondary school age, did the other sports start to drop off? You mentioned there you played a lot growing up. Was that the kind of age where you kind of started to focus on GAA and basketball?
So I suppose when I went into Closhton Skelligat secondary school, I was very busy. Like I was playing school basketball, school football, club basketball, club football. I started playing county football under 14, and I was on the Southwest Southwest basketball team as well. So like I was out training every night of the week. So yeah, I've kind of stuck with both of them since then, but it was just hard to balance my time, but I've managed to do it all the way up, so I'm just gonna try to stick with it anyway.
Yeah, you didn't have time to be doing any other sports. Here's me asking you, putting pressure on you. How did you balance, I suppose, getting involved in those county teams and the Irish teams? I know there's a number of underage players, like the Hazel Finn, Dana, lots of people that have done it in the past. But for anyone that's currently maybe at a younger age that hasn't done it yet, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I just say, you have to prioritize your time, and when you have work to do, if it's a short little window, like you have to get your work done. But then in terms of the two sports, like I could be at Kerry training on a Saturday morning and then have a 5 hour basketball training camp the next day up in Dublin or somewhere. So it's just really important to balance your time, but also take rest days. Like, you can't keep going forever. So just to make sure you have at least one rest day a week that you're just zoned out from it and leave your body just time to recover.
I heard your mum is well known in the Irish basketball community. She's been in every gym in the country. Was there much of a conversation with coaches in terms of trying to balance both, where it's, look, I'm not going to make this session because I'm over here, or I'm training here 5 times a week, or I might have a double session here. Things are clashing. Did you have to kind of talk to coaches a bit about that?
Yeah, I was lucky enough that I didn't have too many clashes, especially of like games and important trainings or important games clashing. I suppose when I was going over to the under 16 European Championships in Montenegro, the month before we were kind of put on a bit of a ban from all other sports, but we had just won the Munster final with Kerry, under 16, and we were going to be playing Kildare in the All Ireland semi-final, and that was in that window. And I had to get my mom to have a bit of a chat with Carol Kilbride to, you know, leave me permission to play the game. And it was actually funny because Gillian Wheeler, another girl on in the last 12 of that under 16 team, she was playing for Kildare that day. So the
Oh,
two of
right.
us had to get permission to play the game, but it worked out in the end anyway. We won in extra time, and I was allowed to play the final then as well before going over to the European Championships.
Yeah, well, at least there was two years asking originally, but poor Gillian when you beat them. What's it like going into a high pressure environment from a young age in terms of Irish teams going abroad? It's very elite level, and even All Ireland semi final, All Ireland final. How do you find that environment and that pressure?
To be honest, I didn't really feel pressurized. I was just doing something I loved, and I just took every game, every training as it came. Um, yeah, going over to the European Championships, like it was such a professional setup in the Irish basketball camp. Like it was the first time saying having nutritionists, psychologists, all of these people like there at the trainings, and just like the camp it was just a real professional environment, and you had everything there for you. Like you had certain times that you were doing strength and conditioning, you had times to be running through plays. It was just so structured. So I liked the way it was so structured, and you knew what you were doing all the time. You had plans to do at home when you weren't at training camp. And
Okay.
I liked all that structure.
And how did you find originally going into the likes of strength and conditioning and even nutritional talks, kind of realizing, I shouldn't be maybe eating what I currently am. I need to change and I need to try different things here.
I found it all right. I suppose I had got a bit of exposure to strength and conditioning with the Kerry underage teams, and as well
Mm.
with our Southwest basketball team. We actually had Daniel and Ryan Warwick.
Okay,
They
yeah.
were our strength and conditioning team with the Southwest basketball team. So they
Okay.
came up with us to the Irish team. So it was actually nice knowing them and knowing like their styles of training and stuff.
What was it like going to the European Championships for the first time and kind of playing against other countries? And I get the sense like when you go, it's kind of this really eye-opening thing of, you know, there's loads of styles of basketball, you know, more than what we just do here in Ireland, and you're playing against girls that are bigger, stronger, faster, that maybe we wouldn't see normally here in Ireland.
Yeah, I suppose like in Ireland we like to run the ball, fast break, get easy scores. But then when you go over to European Championships and there's teams that just want to slow the game down and set up plays, like there's huge girls over there, like, and all their game might be like throwing it into a big post and leaving them score. So it's so different to see all the different styles and just all the different ways that teams like try to target you, and the way we had to say do video analysis and stuff on teams and target all their best players. It was just an eye-opening experience, I suppose.
What's it like going into a video session for the first time and having to scout a team and, you know, probably realise, oh, I'm going to be picking up this player or that player. I need to know their sort of tendencies.
Yeah, it was kind of different because like normally, you just go out and play the game, but over there it was like looking at, say, oh, this player is left-handed, this player is right-handed. I have to face, or I have to, force this person onto their weaker hand. And it's just like a lot to get your head around at the start because you're not used to like thinking that much into what another player can do. At more you're focused on yourself, where then it was a lot of, oh, this team like to do this team want to play this way, and just how to like break them down. So it was very different.
Mm. What was your favourite Irish team? Someone sent that question in for you. It's a controversial one here.
They were all good. Sure,
Go for the political answer.
I was on the under 16 team in 2018, and then I would have gone up to the under 18 team in 2019 straight away. So it was actually different, like getting to see all the older girls that I had watched growing up, especially when I was on the under 16 team, watching them play with the year above and then getting to play with that team. It was a good experience on both of them.
So how do you balance even coaching? Like, I suppose as a player, you have your club coach, you have your Irish coach, and then you have your football club coach, and then your Kerry coach. How do you find going between loads of different coaches in a very short period of time? Is it very mentally taxing? Does it take a bit of adjusting? Because I suppose with me, I've one coach, my club football coach, so I'm used to him. We get on really well. But how do you try and manage 4 coaches and adapting to every style and every role that you have to play in the different teams?
I think I enjoyed it because they all like picked out different things that you had to work on and stuff. And say your club coach, maybe he would have, been like, oh, you're the best at this or you're the best at that. But then when you get into an Irish team, all of a sudden there's all girls around you who are also really good. So you have to work on maybe more detailed things when it comes to an Irish team. And they're like, the coaches were brilliant at giving us feedback and giving us like specific things we were doing well, but also things that we could improve on. And like, you mightn't even know this about yourself, but when you see it in front of you and you're like, okay, yeah, I could be doing that better, or yeah, I need to still improve on this.
Yeah. And what were those little things that you had to, when you realised when you went to, say, Kerry or to Irish training, what did they say to you? What did you have to improve?
I suppose at Irish training, it would have been communication, especially, when I was coming in and I was just a girl from Kerry and all these girls maybe playing with bigger clubs. And all, say, the Dublin players, most of them knew each other, and going in, and I suppose I would have been told, like, say, it's good that I can do stuff on defense, but if I'm not telling the other people around me what I'm doing, like, it's no good for the team. So just how important communication was.
Mm-hmm. Out of all the coaches you've had up to this point, even not just at under 16, what's the best advice you've ever received from a coach?
I think just that work rate is just non-negotiable. That, like, in a game something mightn't be going well, or you might miss, like everyone does, you might misplace a pass, but like you can control your work rate. You can control if you miss shot and you're going to sprint back on defense. Or in football you're going to tackle and work to get the ball back. Like, just control the controllables, I suppose.
Very good. What's your self-talk like then during a game? Are you constantly focus on that, kind of reminding yourself, look, control the controllables here, work rate, or is it what's your self-talk like during a game?
I suppose in terms of football, um, you don't really have that much time to be thinking about, what am I saying to myself? But say now if I was taking a free kick or something, I'd try to just keep it positive and just be like, you're gonna score instead of like getting it into your mind, oh, I'm gonna miss. What if I miss? Where if you're thinking I'm gonna score, it's all positive in your head and you're more likely to achieve that then.
What's your free kick routine like?
A few bounces of the ball solo and a few steps up and hope for the best.
How often would you practice your free kicks? I know you're injured at the moment, but normally, what would you try to do?
I suppose it depends on what training I have that week and stuff. I try go down to the pitch like once a week, or especially before a game if there's a game coming up, just get shots just from all different angles, both legs, and just see how I'm feeling. If I'm tired, only take a few maybe, but yeah, just keep going and always end on a make.
Yeah, I've realised that recently as well. I made the mistake one week. I went home and I went home on a miss, and it was horrendous, and I was beating myself up all the way home. What do you ever look at other free takers or look at their styles or try listen to what they think or how they do things?
Not really. I kind of try to focus on myself and if something's working, just stay with it. And if you miss a few, like just keep practicing because like it's your style. Like you can't be copying anyone else when you're so used to, in open play and everything. Like it's your own style. So just practice that.
Brilliant. Is there much of is it very similar then? Let's say when you have a free throw, I guess that's probably the best comparison for basketball and football. You have a free kick or a free throw. Is it a similar mindset in terms of that?
Yeah, I think so. Just to settle down and take your breaths and then, yeah, just zone in on your routine and your own rituals or whatever before you take that free kick.
Mm-hmm. It's nearly cliche at this point about the crossover between Gaelic football and basketball, but what do you see as the benefits of playing both? What have you noticed that you see as a really big strength that kind of, comes out in both sports for you?
I would think, especially from basketball, the footwork you learn, like especially with the Irish team, we would have spent hours on different footwork, different steps going to the basket. So I think that footwork, when you're in like a tight space in football, it just kind of clicks into place as well. And I suppose the hand-eye coordination, like all of those things that are always talked about, where the kick or the catching, just everything, yeah. And spatial awareness and stuff. Like basketball's a way smaller space, so when you can do something in that like tight space with loads of people around you, and then you're opened up onto a big football field, I think it's a lot easier.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for a GA player to bounce between their legs, but I think I might be waiting a while for that. What do you kind of realise when, in terms of the setback with the injury, when you're so used to being out on the pitch and playing, when that's taken away from you? How did you deal with that originally?
I suppose I continued going to the trainings and everything, just standing there watching. I just found it great to even like the social interactions you have. Like all I've known for my whole life is going to training, whatever, 5, 6 days a week. So when that was taken away, I just tried to get straight back into it, and just even standing on the sideline, meeting the girls at training, it helps. It brings up your mood, even when you're not doing anything, but just, still being involved. I just found that good. I know other people, like to just take a break, but for me, I found staying involved was best for me.
And how did you find when you returned to, let's say, the rehab, so the original stages where you weren't allowed maybe run yet, but after surgery when you start doing your exercises, did the motivation ever waver throughout the whole? I know you're still on the journey, but particularly maybe at the beginning when you realised, I've such a long road ahead with the injury, did the motivation levels ever dip for you?
I think I just took it day by day, and I suppose anytime I kind of thought, oh, this is like not worth it or whatever, or like was not motivated to do a session, I would have like maybe told myself, oh, why are you doing this? Or even look back on like little clips of me playing and being like, this is what I want to get back to. And like soon I just click in and be like, yeah, I need to go do that session now. So yeah, to be fair, I haven't really missed any sessions I was supposed to do. I've just, whenever I did feel bad, I just looked at why I was doing this and why I want to get back.
And why do you play football, and why do you want to play intercounty and push yourself to the limit? What's your kind of reason or purpose? Purpose is a bit deep, maybe just a reason there.
I just enjoy it so much, and I enjoy pushing myself and working towards the goals of our team. So yeah, I love it.
Brilliant. What's your goal for yourself in terms of, I suppose, not retiring? You're only still what, 20, but when you do finish playing eventually, what kind of player do you want to be remembered for?
I suppose someone who had an impact on the game and um, good work rate and just a good team player.
And do you find when you go through, let's say, an injury or a setback, it, what motivates you more? Is it that success? Is it? I know you won Munster under 16 or Young Player of the Year, and a couple of other accolades as well. Is that what motivates you more, or is a setback and this, let's say, the injury, does that drive you more? What do you find for yourself?
I think that the injury has driven me to be like, I want to get back. I want to prove myself again. Yeah, but as well, success motivates you, that feeling of winning, even with the club, like winning county championships. And yeah, that just motivates you to want to get back to that moment and keep doing it in the future.
When you're injured on the sideline and when you're watching the game from a different perspective, I found it very interesting and I picked up different bits. Did you ever, throughout this whole journey of the recovery, have you ever sat down and watched a game when you were kind of like, oh, that's really interesting, I haven't seen, maybe that decision from this angle, or maybe I would have done this a little bit differently now next time that I've seen it from this angle here?
Yeah, I suppose the first game that I would have been on the sideline for was our league semi-final last year when I had torn my cruciate. I had torn it 2 weeks before.
Okay.
So I was on the sideline for that Division Two semi-final against Monaghan, and it was like such a tight game. It went to extra time. It went to free kicks, and we ended up winning it in free kicks. But like in that game, I was sitting there, and it was like the first time I had like watched the game from a distance, like, and it was just all the little things you start to notice where like I had never been off the pitch to see all the small things that were happening during the game. So it was very interesting.
What were those small things that you started noticing?
I don't know. I think just all the like different movements the players are making, and you kind of start to understand all the players on your team even more from watching, and not being involved as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. In terms of when you moved up to the senior team from underage, how did you find that jump? And how did you find, I know you settled in very quickly, but how did you find kind of going into that dressing room and kind of realizing this is, my dream from a very young age and I'm kind of living it here?
I suppose when I first went in, I was just 17, and I was the only one from my age group who was going in at the time. I went in with Julie O'Sullivan and Neve O'Connor. They were like playing the year above me. So we had just been knocked out of the Munster Championship in minor. And the three of us went in. And I suppose it was very daunting at the start, going into the dressing room, looking up to all these people that you had watched playing for Kerry and you looked up to. But then, all the girls were lovely and they made us settle in really nice. So, it wasn't after the first session, it was all fine.
You're grand. What would be your normal sort of pre-game routine? Are you real superstitious? Do you have any sort of rituals that you go through?
No, I just live in the moment and no pre-game stuff really. Just, prepare well the day before, but nothing special. I'm kind of relaxed on the day. I don't really think about it too much. I don't really get too nervous either and just go out and play.
Very good. What would be your biggest strength, do you think, on the pitch or on the court? What do you see as that difference maker for you?
I suppose on the pitch, just getting scores and setting up scores. And my work rate. I like to have a good work rate. I think everything's based off work rate, and once you do that, you have a chance in any team really.
Mm-hmm. I think work rate is interesting. It is a skill in itself, but if you were to pick a particular fundamental skill in both basketball or football, what do you think is the kind of underrated skill in both sports? Is there anything we're really overlooking as players or coaches that you just find very useful and you just don't think people pay enough attention to?
I think in both basketball and football, you being able to use both hands and both legs is just, it gives you so many more options. And when you can use both legs to kick or use both hands to shoot, like it makes you have more time on the ball, or, you have just more options to get out of trouble. So I think both of them really help you when you're playing the games.
Definitely. I know you're in UL at the moment. How do you balance, and I suppose even, through leaving cert, how do you balance sport and academics? How do you try keep on top of both and try not let one spill into the other?
I suppose I've always been good enough at getting my work done when I have time. Like, sometimes it's a bit last minute, but say if I had something due for tomorrow, I'd focus on that completely and then leave the rest of the stuff off until I have time and I need to get them done. I suppose I've always prioritized, like say school when I need to prioritize school and sport when I need to prioritize sport. So I suppose I was lucky enough that the leaving cert got cancelled for us over COVID, but
You're one of them, were you?
I was one of them. But no, it was all right.
Yeah, that's good. Away from the pitch, away from the court, is there any particular habits or routine that you do that you kind of attribute your physical ability to on the pitch? Is there anything that you would do away from the pitch or court that you just find really useful and very helpful for you?
I suppose just, strength and conditioning is really important. Over COVID, I would have put a lot of emphasis on building myself up and becoming stronger and fitter. When I first went into the Kerry team, I made my debut against Westmeath in Fitzgerald Stadium. And I suppose from then I saw the physicality and just a step up from that underage level. We won that game, and then going on to play Dublin in the All Ireland quarterfinal, like that was even a bigger step up again. So after that, I think I've put more emphasis on just becoming stronger and fitter as a player.
That's something Erica O'Shea mentioned during her episode. There is a couple of people advocating for bringing in maybe a shoulder into ladies football. What would be your take on that?
Yeah, I've lived with Erica for a bit, so
Oh, do you?
um,
Oh, I didn't realise.
yeah, I don't know. I think a bit more physicality in the ladies' game will be good. Everyone's building themselves up and becoming fitter, becoming stronger. So, if you can't really use it, there's, not much. Well, there is a point in doing it, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It would be good
Mm-hmm.
when everyone is building themselves up that we can use it more.
What do you think of the forward mark in the men's game? Do you want to see that as a forward? Would you like to see that in the women's game?
I think as a forward, you would like to see it, but I don't know. I think it gets some easy scores and stuff. I'd rather just leave it the way it was. But as a forward, I think, you know, you
You wouldn't
wouldn't
say no
mind it
to it.
either.
Yeah, exactly. There's a huge trend of Irish players going to Australia. Is AFLW on your radar? Would that be something you'd like to try? I guess it's a big pull to be, to be semi-professional and or professional over there. Is that something that you wouldn't mind having a go at?
Yeah, I like the look of the lifestyle and all of that, but I don't know for the moment if I could leave football behind. But I'll see. After my injury, coming back, like my full focus is just on football and basketball and getting back playing them. So I'll think about it in the future.
Very good. For the teams you're involved with, you've mentioned kind of your own goals, but over the next couple of years, what would you like to achieve with your teams?
Um, I suppose with Kerry, like we've been stuck in Division Two now for a while. Last year we got to the league final and played Meath in Croke Park. We had actually beaten them in the first game of the league and then went on and lost in the league final. That was actually very tough for me to watch up in the stands in Croke Park on crutches. But yeah, I suppose get out of Division 2. They've made a good start last week. They beat Tipperary. We had a game cancelled last weekend against Clare, but hopefully now get out of Division 2 and start competing in Division 1 and compete in senior level as well. Just be more competitive.
What's it like playing with Louise Nimura Kartig? I was watching some clips of her. I think she's absolutely outrageous. I think she's so underrated as a footballer. But what's it like to share the pitch with her?
Oh, it's unbelievable. She's just a great person and a great player, and she's just like a great leader on the pitch and off the pitch. And she's like, her skills and everything are just special. But like the amount of work she puts in, say after training, taking extra shots, just all off it to keep like going season after season, it's just very special.
What would be her leadership style? How did she motivate and keep the team going on and off the pitch, as you mentioned?
I think on the pitch is just her actions. Like she's always keeps her head up, and she's carried the team a lot over the last few years. So yeah, I think it's just more her actions on the pitch.
If you had to pick one, what sport would you pick? What do you prefer if you had to now?
If I had to, I would pick them both.
Good answer. I'm going to move on to the sideline 7. It's the same 7 questions at the end of every episode. You can take it as fire round or thought provoking. It's entirely up to you. Question 1: what is your favourite quote?
I was actually looking this up, and I think I came to think some people want it to happen, some people wish it could happen, and others make it happen.
Michael Jordan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the last dance?
I loved it. Yeah, just his mindset and all the work he put in was just crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Question 2: what's the best sporting event you've been to? And for yourself, you can pick one in basketball and one in football.
In basketball, it would have to be European Championships. And then football, I think watching the men's All-Ireland, just the buzz and Kerry playing. Yeah, I think All-Ireland final day.
2011, is it that one? That one? I had to throw that in as a dove. I had to throw that in. Question 3: what's been the biggest setback or challenge so far in your career, and how did you react to it?
I suppose it would have to be tearing my cruciate last June. But I think I've reacted well. I've just gone straight into the rehab and just, taking it day by day, week by week. And to be honest, I think the time has flown by. And to be at the end stages of rehab now, preparing myself to get back playing sport, it's just, it's good to see how much it's improved, but also to know there's a small bit more to go. So to keep working and just trying to get back to my best.
Is it nearly worse being at the end, being so close to being fully cleared than at the beginning?
Yeah, I suppose even standing at training now, you're thinking, oh, I just wish I could be back out there. But yeah, I just have to stay focused on my own rehab and, join back in when the time is right.
Brilliant. On the flip side then, what's been your biggest achievement on or off the pitch / court?
I suppose on the court and pitch, playing in the European Championships under 16 and under 18 was on the court. On the pitch, I suppose our few Munster underage medals and making my senior debut in Fitzgerald Stadium. And then off them, just getting into UL, my first choice in PE and maths teaching.
Brilliant. Looking back, you're only 20. What advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
I suppose don't leave all my assignments to last minute in college. Would help a bit. But no, I get them all done in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Question 6: who would be your dream dinner guest and why? And you can open up the table to a few people if you want.
I think Michael Jordan or LeBron James, just their work rate and their attitude and how they kept going season after season for so long. I think the two of them will be interesting.
Brilliant. Final question before I let you go. If your life was a book, what chapter would this be called?
I think it would have to be The Comeback.
Brilliant. So you're set yourself up now for big things after the injury.
Up, yeah.
Exactly. Siofra, thanks a million for coming on the podcast. The very best of luck with everything moving forward, and thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
A massive thank you to Siofra for joining me on the podcast today. I hope you enjoyed the chat. I'll be sure to leave all of her social media links in the description box below, and I just want to wish her the very best of luck with the rest of her recovery. If you are enjoying the podcast, I'd really appreciate if you leave a rating and a review over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as it does help the show grow. A big thanks to Field Queens for sponsoring the series. As always, thank you for listening.